kind of the introductions. So I have Neil and have Eleanor here, and Julie's there. And I know the other persons are professionals. And Shelley's one of the chairs. And let's see, we have Raina is one of the chairs as well, correct?
John Raina, yes.
John, where is he?
John
Right here.
Disappeared.
he's there. He's just probably one arrow movement to the
Okay.
right
Okay.
because we're looking at the slides. See, I'll show you. John is definitely there. Oh, there's Renee. Renee is here too.
Oh, good, Renee.
Renee.
Oh, good. She's a non-voting member.
Right. Hi, Renee.
Hi, everybody. Happy New Year.
Happy New Year.
Hey, hello.
Thanks for being here.
Hey, Renee, it's Daryl. Sean was down below,
Yeah,
right?
John was there.
Yes, sir.
Tell your husband to check his
Yeah, there's John.
messages.
Okay.
I will. He's not home,
Okay.
but I will tell him.
Thank you.
So, good afternoon.
Good
And
afternoon.
we can't approve the minutes yet because we don't have a quorum. So we'll just defer that to our next council meeting. So this is a very specific meeting to go over the university strategic planning process, quote, mission statement. And we have three members, the chairs, and everybody knows everybody, I think. I don't know, Neil and Eleanor and Julie were council members. And I don't have to do much talking. I'm going to do some listening today. And Dan, I think you're going to run the show. So how are you doing, Dan?
I'm doing well, thanks. How are you guys? I'm a little,
Okay, so
it's a little
why don't
cold,
you
but
bring us up to speed?
absolutely. I'll get started. Okay, so part of what I wanted to do today, in addition to us talking a little bit about the mission statement of the institution, I wanted to give you some context of where we are in the strategic planning process. So I'm going to just present a little chart here, moving from left to right. So far through the fall term, we kicked off the project, and the kickoff included all faculty, staff, students, community stakeholders, etc. And then we level set those groups on various trends in higher education, so we're all singing from the same hymnal, so to speak. We, through August into September, conducted a significant number of focus groups, 13 of them, with those various stakeholder groups, students, faculty, staff, community members, etc. We then got further insights from those folks in a strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats survey. We had a lot of great feedback from well over 500 people on the institution's strengths, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats as it pertains to the strategic plan. Part of what we did that you see on the screen now is we conducted on campus what's called a student experience workshop. And I'm going to show you the results of that in a minute, but it's important for you all to understand that the strategic planning process is rooted in the learner experience. As you can imagine, we are all here for the learners. It is critical that we, as your partner in the strategic plan development process, really continually remind everybody that it is for the learners and their experience that we are developing the strategic plan. Then closer towards the end of the term, we had a very excellent on-campus summit called the Future Summit that's designed to help everybody, faculty, staff, students, community stakeholders, et cetera, envision the future that we want for the institution, because a strategic plan really is obviously about the future. Though it's grounded in the present, we want to look forward. Once we did that, we came up with 8 strategic themes that a cross-functional team led by Shelley, Shayla, and John that you see in this meeting today set off and are doing research on these themes. These themes you'll see in a moment, but they're things around academic excellence, around student success, around ensuring that we serve the region and community well. And they're doing research to ensure that the strategic plan is based in fact. Here in the next couple of weeks, we're going to deploy a values survey to ensure that the fundamental characteristics and values of the institution are what we want them to be, since the values of the institution really translate into the culture. All of that then is going to move into strategy development simultaneous to this mission and vision work that we are starting on with you all today. We'll do that work around strategy development and mission and vision confirmation through February, March, even into April a little bit, where the beginning of April, we'll start to develop measurable objectives that help us achieve the strategies. And one of the things that the president has been adamant about is that this strategic plan is not one that will sit on a shelf. And so you see that in April into May, we will be conducting with a cross-functional team at the institution what's called action planning workshops, so that we make sure that all of the strategies and objectives that we develop actually have an underlying and very tactical, practical action plan, so that President Wheeler and his leadership team can make sure to hold the institution and its constituents accountable for the plan that we're going to develop. And it is in that implementation and the ongoing implementation that we will make sure that this strategic plan is one that is really hard-coded into the day-to-day operations of the institution. So with that as context, today's meeting really is about reviewing and revising SUNY New Paltz's current mission statement in the hopes of developing a revised version to drive this new strategic plan. We will prepare for setting the vision, which we, this group, the council, and the team that you see on the screen will do in a later session. But today's meeting really is about reviewing and starting the revision process of SUNY New Paltz's current mission statement. That's our big goal that we hope to accomplish by 3:59 today. Excuse me one moment. Excellent. Okay, so I did want to take a moment, however, to just put up on the screen what we have developed as the ideal student experience for SUNY New Paltz learners. And again, as a reminder, this was developed in a very large workshop that we held in the gym that included students, faculty, staff, community members, etc., and then was revised by the president and his leadership team. So what you see on the screen is that SUNY New Paltz. Oops, sorry.
No, you're fine. Just
Can you
moving
all see?
closer so we can read it. Yeah, it's a little tiny.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excellent. And I can, yeah, excellent. So our ideal student experience statement is that SUNY New Paltz will deliver a transformative education defined by a student experience that's challenging, inspiring, and accessible, offering rigorous yet attainable academic opportunities that empower students to excel academically, socially, and professionally, empowering, inclusive, and equitable, fostering a sense of belonging, which was really important to those that participated, where students from diverse backgrounds feel welcomed, supported, accepted, and valued. Sustainably focused and socially responsible, preparing students to think critically, act responsibly, and understand their role in addressing environmental, cultural, and societal challenges from the local to the global. And then deeply connected to place and purpose, enriching learning by leveraging the historic, cultural, and natural richness of the Hudson Valley to provide unique academic and personal growth opportunities. That's what the school has said they want the ideal student experience to be. And again, I put this up here because it's important that as we are working on the strategic plan, it's important for us to keep in the back of our minds what we hope for the student experience to be. Now, we know we can't do that without assistance from the faculty, staff, and administration. I am not going to read each of these bullets. The general idea behind each of these bullets is that the university is committed to delivering on that ideal student experience. They are committed from all angles. It's not just about the excellent academic experience. It's also about supporting the students. It's about ensuring, as John's on the phone, that we embrace innovation and technology in a way that allows the students to create a seamless experience. And we want to create lifelong connections and local partnerships, engaging alumni, keeping the local business community and community writ large involved in the institution. And the institution has committed to supporting this experience with these supporting statements. Again, providing you all this as context for the strategic planning process. But today's focus really is on the mission. I'm going to pause for a moment. I gave you a lot of context there. I want to stop and see if there's any thoughts, questions, or concerns before we move into the heart and soul of what we hope to do today. And I'm in fact going to stop sharing so I can see your lovely faces to see if there are any thoughts, questions, or concerns.
Well, I hate to talk, but I'll just try and generate something. So it's really a very broad, super broad, I would say both mission statement and kind of goals. But is there a sentinel goal? Is it to prepare the students for the future, where they're going to go? It seemed most of the points are about the experience here rather than there, where they're going. And I mean, am I missing something on that?
Yeah, so to be clear, what we just reviewed is merely a statement of exactly what you said it did, which is explain what we, the institution, want the ideal student experience to be. What we're going to work on today is the mission of the institution, which is exactly what you just said, right? You just actually did a big part of what we're going to do, which is let's talk about what we think the role of the institution is. Again, the first couple of slides there were contextual. We're going to move into, in a moment, exactly what you just said, starting to define what the mission of the institution is. Further down the process, we will define very distinct goals that support the mission. But for now, very slow, thoughtful process. We're going to, in a moment, move into the development of that mission statement. First, I'm going to show you the current one, and then we're going to work on revising it. Does that make sense?
It does. And was there an assessment of where things are now? Did you formulate a baseline? And then, of course, then theoretical where, what the experience is to be here.
Yes, very much so.
And there, the mission statement.
That's exactly right.
That's the question.
Yeah. The focus groups and the SWOT survey set that baseline of where we are today and where various constituents want us to move to in the future. But it's now critical that we get you, the College Council, to help us appreciate what the mission of the institution is. And then in our next meeting, we're going to set the vision, which is that future forward, future looking view into what we want the institution to be. Is that helpful?
I just have a contextual question.
Yeah.
Are we changing the mission because someone, or it was determined that the mission is not good, or are we just revisiting to make sure it's still accurate?
The answer to that question we hope to have by 3:59 today. That's going to be a decision and a discussion that we all want.
So I'll just add to that. Yes,
Yeah.
I think it's in there, but one of the things I've complained about, I'll just own complaining, that the current mission as it's written is rambling and states a whole lot of, it conflates values with missions and aspirations and all this stuff. It's not a succinct and clear mission statement. What I was hoping we'd be able to get to is a mission statement, and then behind it, all of this can come. But you've seen mission, I mean, this is 2 paragraphs to tell you what we do as opposed to telling you what we do.
Yeah. And if I can just add too, when Middle States did their last reaccreditation visit, this was one of the recommendations they made. One of the action items was we needed to look at this and really make it a more, as the president just said,
Concise.
more concise and focused statement. Yeah.
Great, thank you.
I'm thinking of when I entered college. I wanted to learn. I wanted to follow a vocation, which I found while I was at college. I think that's the main purpose of the college, is to implant knowledge that one needs to go forward in life. Simply that.
I am going to absolutely.
I'm entertained because it's so much, it's a lot of things. I think that's, what the input was, but it's a lot of things. I mean, it is also making friends. Now, is that imparting knowledge? Yes, it is. It's, socialization. Yeah. But then it's
Yeah.
also the ability to continue to learn and to expand and to do, just like when you are in athletics, you train all the time and you don't play the game over and over. You do different exercise and activities, which is what academics are, to get to get the thought processes.
So let's spend a little time.
Sorry. I look at the mission, the vision's one thing, the mission, but I look at it as the destination, where, and how, if you don't have a destination, where you're going geographically, you can have 1,000 maps and they're not going to do you a whole lot of good. You're
Yeah,
just gonna
that's
be
a
lost
great.
in all those maps. So you have a focus and an objective, and the objective doesn't mean just a singular objective, but an objective. And then, for the students, you give them the tools, the forum, the culture, the environment to get there, right?
That's a great segue. That's a wonderful segue. Oh, I'm so sorry. I feel I'm talking over you. I can't see everyone very clearly.
Okay,
My apologies.
Xavier, our student association president and voting member of the council, was making a comment.
Hi.
He's here.
Yeah, I'm reviewing the mission statement, and you kind of get to what the goal of our committee is towards the tail end of the first paragraph, where you say our goal is for students to gain knowledge, skills, and confidence to contribute as a productive member of their communities and professions and active citizens in a democratic nation and a global society. I feel like our goal as a committee is to develop or to create an environment in which we can achieve those goals and in which students can offer those goals, because we're doing that through the way that we admit our students, like the type of students that we're looking to invite here, and the way that we're developing some of our initiatives, like what was it? The one that we were talking about last semester, the campus climate.
Okay.
So like through our surveys, our like polling to understand how the students are feeling and the situations that our students are in, trying to gain a better understanding of that. So our overall goal is to create an environment in which students can better prepare themselves for the world beyond.
That's right. That's right. So let's pause for a moment and let's just all level set on the definitions of what we're going to try to accomplish today. And so if you all can see my screen, what I want to do is just focus a little bit on what we are going to define as the mission of the institution. And we're defining the mission of the institution as your reason for being. What is the SUNY New Paltz reason for being? As opposed to the vision, which is aspirational. What do you want to do? Today, we're going to focus on the mission. And the mission really does do very much what was just said. It is your ripple in the world. And I like to think of this as when you throw a stone into a lake, it not only causes a singular circle, but multiple circles that spread out from that stone. The strategic plan and the mission that we're going to talk about today really not only centers on the things that we just discussed, but has a greater impact across a wide range of stakeholders, people that want to apply to the institution, as we were just talking about, people that are in the institution as learners, as employees, as faculty, people that interact with the institution. The mission of the institution has a broad, wide-ranging impact on those that touch the institution. So let's just spend a little bit of time level setting on the definition of a mission statement.
Well,
The
first
mission-
of all, may I interrupt?
Please.
First thing one expects going to college is knowledge. I would like to attain knowledge of more than what I hope to be, musician, a writer, painter, but a broad knowledge. And I think that's the first thing that I expect from the university.
Excellent. We're going to have an opportunity to discuss those kinds of content revisions or thoughts in a moment. But before we do, I want to make sure that we're all speaking the same language. And I want to make sure that as we think about the mission of the institution, we all commonly understand that it's really the reason for the institution being, reflecting the purpose and the value SUNY New Paltz provides. The other thing, to the point that the president was making, is generally it remains unchanged for long periods of time, contrary to the vision. But in this case, I think everyone, and Shelley mentioned the accreditation process as well, agrees that it's time for the mission statement to change. And one of the things that's come through very clearly is that we want the mission statement to be memorable and to be able to be simple, concise, etc. And so I do love this quote from the president of another university where he says, a mission statement isn't about what you do day to day, and it's not a vision statement about the hopes for the institution. It's intended to be an authentic way of saying what's important about an institution, an explanation of what you do and why you do it. And so the president and I were talking last week or the week before, I think it was the week before, thought it would be helpful to just show a couple of sample mission statements that we thought might be helpful as we begin to think about what the SUNY New Paltz mission statement might look like. And so if you take a look up on the screen over on the left, I put a couple universities. University of Rochester's mission statement is learn, discover, heal, create, and make the world ever better. And then Tarleton State University, which is part of a large system like SUNY, and so mentions, the reason I brought this one forward is mentioning the system. Tarleton State University, a founding member of the A&M University system, transforms generations by inspiring discovery, leadership, and service through educational excellence. And then I thought it might be helpful to see a couple of company mission statements. Tesla's to accelerate the world's transition to sustainable energy. Nike to bring inspiration and innovation to every athlete in the world. And Microsoft to empower every person and every organization on the planet to achieve more. So let's, as we were just doing, take a look at our current mission statement. Quite lengthy, as the president was discussing, but I think it's important for us to level set the context of where we're coming from, i.e. our current mission statement. I'm going to spend just a moment actually reading it before we start the discussion of what we think we ought to do to change this or to think about whether and how we should. But I will also allow you an opportunity to read it yourselves. In the proud tradition of SUNY, the State University of New York at New Paltz is committed to providing high quality, affordable education to students from all social and economic backgrounds. We are a faculty and campus community dedicated to the construction of a vibrant, intellectual, creative public forum, which reflects and celebrates the diversity of our society and encourages and supports active participation in scholarly and artistic activity. SUNY New Paltz is an active contributor to the schools, community institutions, and economic, cultural life of our region. We're selective in admitting students who show promise of thriving in a learning environment, which is challenging, student-centered, and personalized. Our goal is for students to gain knowledge, skills, and confidence to contribute as productive members of their communities and professions and active citizens in a democratic nation and global society. We're the only residential public university in Mid-Hudson region. We offer undergraduate and graduate programs in the liberal arts and sciences, which serve as a core for professional programs in the fine and performing arts, education, healthcare, business, and engineering. Our location in the scenic Hudson Valley, midway between the state capital of Albany and New York City, provides unique opportunities for enriching our academic programs. We are a diverse faculty of distinguished scholars and artists who collaborate across the disciplines and professional areas to inspire our students to a love of learning, a meaningful engagement with the life of the mind, and an involvement in public service. So, covers quite a bit. As the president and I were talking, we did want to just make sure to provide you one more bit of context, and that is SUNY New Paltz's mission, vision, and values is, in fact, in the context of SUNY's 4 pillars of student success, research and scholarship, diversity, equity, and inclusion, and economic development and upward mobility. And the institution's strategic pillars are academic excellence, to the point you were making earlier, and student success, as well as value add to the community and to New York writ large. So, please.
On the previous screen, there is a sentence that is excellent. Our goal is for students to gain knowledge, skills, and confidence to contribute as productive members of their communities.
Mm-hmm.
I think that's the most important sentence in this statement.
That's excellent. It does. And that is a great segue to exactly what I want to have to start this discussion. You just did exactly the first point. You, in the simplest, most compelling way, described what you feel SUNY does and the ripple that it creates when that happens. I'd love to hear others' thoughts on that same topic. What is the simplest, most compelling way to describe what New Paltz does and the impact that it has when it does what it does? What are others' thoughts? And if it's helpful to see the current statement, the current mission statement, please let me know and I'll scroll back to that.
Yes, please. I also like the committed to providing high quality, affordable education to students from all social and economic backgrounds. Line 2.
Mm-hmm. Others, what are other folks' thoughts on the simplest, most concise way that you can explain what SUNY New Paltz does and the impact that it has when it does what it does?
Well, the last sentence, a meaningful engagement with the life of the mind and involvement in public service.
Provides opportunity and environment for learning to make our community a better place.
Well, just think back to when you first entered college, which I'm doing very, very easily because it was so important to me. First of all, you make new friends who are influential in your life. That's important. And they are people who are in love with learning, as you are. It was important to me, the friends I made.
I
Say
guess
again?
if we're discussing what we would like our mission statement to be, there's a lot of things in the existing mission statement that sound very nice, that we would love people to know about us, that we have a very diverse population, that we're the only residential public university in the Mid-Hudson region, and we're a diverse facility of distinguished scholars and artists who collaborate across the disciplines and professional areas to inspire our students to a love of learning, and so on and so forth. And I feel is why the mission statement is so long. There's so many very nice things that we want to say about our campus that most campuses are going to want to say about their campuses. Like, what campus is not going to want to say that they're diverse? You know, what campus is going to want to say that they don't have like all sorts of programs and they want to teach students about like being contributing members of their communities? You know, everybody kind of says that already. So I don't feel like there's a need to have that stuff included in our mission statement. Simply put, at the end of the day, as I said before, we nail it at the end of the first paragraph. I would say a student's goal going to college, as you said before, is to gain knowledge, is to grow, is to become a different person. When I came to New Paltz, my favorite thing about going to college was I was in this new place. I was no longer in high school, and I had the opportunity to completely rewrite myself. And I was surrounded by individuals who all kind of had that same goal, and teachers and faculty who wanted to encourage me to do that. You know, I was in, and I promise I'll get to the point of this quickly, but when I was in Florida, I was doing door-to-door sales over the winter break. And a lot of the guys that I was doing sales with, they were making good money, and none of them had gone to college. They all just straight out of high school went into sales and were making money. And, you know, one of them said to me at one point when we were like talking about college, he said to me, why would I want to go somewhere to have someone teach me how to make money when they're not making the money that I'm making? And I thought about that for a while, and I thought, you know, why do college teachers, college educators who have the skill set, like, for example, my risk analysis professor who knows stocks like the back of her hand, she decided instead of like to go find a job on Wall Street to come here and teach people how to get jobs on Wall Street. And I think I can say for all of us in this room, the purpose we're here for, the reason we're here is to serve, is to help these students who come along to take the steps that they need to grow, to become contributing members. So more so than our goal just being for students to gain knowledge, our goal is to create an environment to establish a place where that can be possible for students. And that is, at the end of the day, like a goal that never changes. You know, how we accomplish that goal will always change as, you know, political events and, you know, just the structure of everything kind of changes. We'll develop new plans to kind of continue to serve our students. But at the end of the day, our goal is to serve our community, for students to
Serve and nurture.
yeah, I had it written down. Just that I would say SUNY New Paltz is dedicated to serving our campus community by fostering an environment in which students can gain knowledge, skills, and confidence to contribute as productive members of their communities and professions and active citizens in a democratic nation and a global society.
Very good.
Excuse me. Can I ask a procedural question?
There's Ron.
Please.
Hi,
Good
Ron.
morning, good afternoon, everybody. What is our time frame on this?
What is the time frame for today or for when the mission will be finalized?
Just for it to be finalized?
The mission is set to be finalized. I don't have the exact calendar in front of me, but it's around the end of February.
Okay. I would agree that right now, our mission statement as it appears is very much too long. But I think it has the basis of what we are and who we want to be. I think what Eleanor suggested and what Julie suggested were probably the best ways of condensing what's there so that we can say who we are and who we want to be. And maybe since I'm not exactly sure where we are in this process, if we could just take some time to maybe condense some of those ideas and circulate it among ourselves within the next week or so, and everybody offer some edits or whatever, that may be some way of us helping us as opposed to trying to write it right now. Because I would think that, yeah, we know we are the only university in the Mid-Hudson Valley. I don't think we need to emphasize that in a mission statement. But I do think we need to say some of the things that, like, that Eleanor and Julie had pointed out. And I'm not quite sure how we get there from where we are today.
So the process that we're going through right now and the discussion that we're having will result in a revised mission statement that will be circulated not only to you all, but will also be circulated to the Strategic Planning Committee and other stakeholders for that very revision that you're discussing right here and now. And the conversation we're having right now is exactly what we, the Strategic Planning Committee, need in order to develop that draft. So I very much appreciate all the comments so far and want to continue to hear what everybody thinks as the way we can continue to refine this down. So very much appreciate the process question, and you nailed it exactly right. We're going to take all this input that we're getting today. We're going to create in this case, streamlined version of the mission statement and get all of your and other stakeholders' inputs prior to, obviously making it final. Does that make sense? Does that answer your process question?
Well, it does. I mean, I'm not trying to limit us to 8 words or so or something like that, but I think we can condense what our current mission statement is into a paragraph.
Yep.
That basically encapsulates everything that we want to be. And yes, there's a lot of, things in there about uniqueness and diversity. And I think there's words that we can use to get there without having to be so verbose and wordy about it.
Mm-hmm. Agreed.
And Neil had his hand up here.
So I agree with Ron. I think this is too long. We want to condense it. But are there things that are not in there that we want to make sure we include and not just keep what we have and cut down? So maybe that's worth discussing as well. Is there something, when you read through this, is there something that, like, well, why isn't XYZ in there?
I don't really see any reference to technology and the fact that we have the 3D printing and that it's so vital for its cutting edge ability, and the fact that we're the only ones in the Hudson Valley that are doing this and offering it to almost the entire Hudson Valley. I think that could be an issue to be applied to this as a mission, to talk about being able to further the advancement of technology.
So a couple of things. When I got here and looked at our mission statement, I also went to our charter to see why did somebody 200 years ago create this institution. And so I didn't want to deviate too far from the charter because that's the legal reason why we exist. And that's why it boiled down to the 2 pillars. The other thing in this discussion, I encourage us to differentiate between how we do it and why we exist, and differentiate that from what we want to become. There's 3 things, and I think that's what happened in this statement. We've mixed everything together, and it's not that any of them are not true, but we added what we do and how we do it with what we want to be, with what is our mission. And our mission centers on education, and as a public school, I think at least probably everybody said it's some degree of democratic nation, global society, or involvement in public service. There's something that's about giving back, and we want to instill that. And there's certainly something about education, whether we say that's knowledge, but those 2 things are critical. And the how we do it, so Ron, to your point, how we do it is another thing. And that gets there's a whole section on values that has to come up later. And there's a how we do it, and how we do it may change over time. There weren't these fancy dancy computers when I was in school, so that wouldn't have been the mission statement. I suspect that the college I went to still has a pretty focused mission statement. The mission is really why you exist.
Can we go back to the mission statement example slide you had?
Yeah, all those are really short, and I'm a trial lawyer. And what I've learned is, you want to convince people and bring them along and, your jury. And what you do is, cases could be weeks long, multiple depositions, tremendous facts. What I learned was you're supposed to have a 1-sentence catch right at the beginning, as soon as you meet the jury. Tell them in 1 sentence what the case is about. And so the mission statement is all 1 sentence. What is it about? And what is New Paltz about? What is the mission of New Paltz? 8 to 10 words. Get it right out before you lose anybody's attention.
That's exactly right.
And maybe I'm missing something, but all the other stuff, the original mission statements, it looks like, I don't know, say goulash soup or whatever it is. You throw everything in a refrigerator into a pot. And yeah, everything's in there, but you're not taking anything away.
That's exactly right. So let's do this.
Because it's just too big. And
that's exactly right. So let's do this.
Concise, it has to grab you, but it has to have the real core value in it so that it's memorable and reflects the institution. And it's what's the mission here? Number one, of course, education, but they use the word education, but it's education, environment, 2 or 3 other words, whatever. I mean,
so
down, but the quintessential mission.
I love that. So what I think we should do now, we've all sort of level set and given some thoughts. I think what you just said is exactly right. And if you look on the screen, look at the last bullet point. Let's step away for a moment from the current mission statement. Let's not worry about that. In our own words, let's think for a couple of minutes. And then in our own words, let's do exactly what you just said. In the simplest, most compelling way, let's describe the school's reason for being in something like 8 to 10 words. So let's each take a moment. It's what, 3:47. Let's go to 3:50, right? Let's just all internally think for a moment about what the most compelling description of SUNY New Paltz's reason for being is. And then let's each of us kind of try to articulate that in 8 to 10 words. So let's pause, take a moment, and then do that.
And Eleanor has a question.
Yes.
It's very simple, but I would say the purpose of the university is to impart knowledge. That's why I went to school. Amen.
Got it. Excellent. Just giving everybody a couple of minutes to think to themselves, and then we'll come back out and read out your thoughts. Just give it one more minute. Okay, so who would like to start by helping us appreciate their thoughts on the simplest, most compelling way to describe the school's reason for being? Eleanor, imparting knowledge. That's great. Noted. Others.
I can tell mine.
Okay.
I think it is a locally accessible, regionally significant, affordable, high quality tool for future success.
Perfect. Thank you. Excellent. Who would like to go next?
I'll go. I put to encourage advocacy, individuality, courage, curiosity, education, and civic engagement.
Could you say it one more time? I caught the first half, but not the second.
To encourage advocacy, individuality, courage, curiosity, education, and civic engagement.
Got it. Excellent. Who'd like to go next?
I mean, I can go, I tried to just cut and paste from what we already have. And I didn't have a lot of time, but if I had to like summarize it, I'd say the mission of SUNY New Paltz is to provide a high quality, affordable education to students from all social and equitable backgrounds in order for them to become productive members of their communities and professions and active citizens in a democratic nation and a global society. All I did was taking 2 sentences that a bunch of other people liked. But it's probably too long, actually, but.
I think that's a fairly good line. That's a fairly good line. When I was asking earlier to go back to the examples, it was just one thing that I wanted to point out. The first college, which, University of Rochester, I hate that. I hate it. I don't like learn, discover, heal, create. It's so non-specific, and to me, it just comes off as ridiculously lazy. The Tarleton State University one, I like a little more, because it gives a little bit of like how you are, like what you're doing, like how you're doing it, like transforming generations by inspiring discovery, leadership, and service through educational excellence. Like you do want to say a little bit of like what you're doing instead of just we heal and discover and learn and create, in my opinion.
Excellent. Okay, thank you. I wanted to just, I can't see everybody's face or know who's talking, but the person that read out providing high quality education, I did not catch the last third. What was the last part of what you were saying?
It was me, right?
Yeah. It was
Okay.
you, Neil.
I mean, so I'll read it again, and
Yeah, do.
it doesn't flow perfectly because I didn't have enough time to edit it.
It's
but
okay.
The mission of SUNY New Paltz is to provide a high quality, affordable education to students from all social and economic backgrounds in order for them to become productive members of their communities and professionals and communities and professions and active citizens in a democratic nation and global economy. So I'm just putting these sentences together. So they're probably things need to change, but, and I think we could take some of those things out because they repeat and add some things that other people want.
Sure. Excellent. Okay. Others that would like to give their brief.
I think Ron just unmuted. Should we let Ron?
Ron?
Yeah.
I'm ready anytime, you know me.
No,
Empower
Eli,
through
you go
the
ahead,
pursuit of
Chris.
knowledge to create a better world.
Can you say that again?
To empower through the pursuit of knowledge to create a better world.
I like that.
But I also have a question. So is one of the goals of the mission statement when students are thinking about applying to SUNY New Paltz, they want to read the mission statement and be like, oh, that's for me? Is that?
Yeah. I think so.
Well, I think I just want to say, I think that's definitely one, but it also, you want it to be a differentiator on some way. And that's why the pithiness is sometimes important, because if you ask the average person to read our current statement, it goes to what Eli said, they're gonna get lost and not understand what you do. And it's like if that thing captures their intrigue, then they go to the next click. Because there's no more catalogs, there's no paper stuff. People are going through hundreds of these really quickly, and if we don't capture them immediately, they're not gonna do the next click. I turn that over to Shelley.
Yeah, well, you said it perfectly. Attention, attention span is certainly an issue.
Definitely,
I-
prospective students are a secondary audience for sure.
I mean, I've liked everything I've heard. The only thing I guess I'll keep harping on this is with the advent of AI and engineering and solar and wind power, we need to figure out how to embrace or interject technology into our mission statement, because we are becoming more and more of a technological society. We have an engineering school, which has basically put us on the map in the mid-Hudson Valley. But we still don't have in our mission statement the use or embracing of or the advancement of technology in any of the statements. And that's probably the only thing that I probably am looking for.
Okay. Got it. Noted.
And I agree with you, Ron. I'm just thinking about our core is as a liberal school of liberal arts and sciences.
Technology is part of science, and I agree. And our core, which is why I'm just trying to figure out how do we talk about our core, but still interject technology in there somewhere.
If I could interject,
Sure.
I like what you said about that we're still a school of liberal arts and sciences. And I like what you said about students bettering the world. Like at the end of your I have a small issue personally with the part of our mission statement where students can become productive members of their communities. And I know how that sounds like, yeah, at the end of the day, we want everyone to be a productive member of their community. Like we don't want unproductive community members. But when I talk to people who don't go to New Paltz, and I like talk about the fact that, well, I go to New Paltz, they throw out, they're like, oh, that's like the super liberal school. Like it's some sort of like insult that it's like a liberal school.
Oh, yeah, the engineering department,
Yeah.
business department.
Yeah, like, but when they talk about like the fact that it's a liberal school, they're not talking about what the campus offers. They're talking about the community of students who go there. The fact that, I don't know, students will dye their hair, or that they may not wear like traditional clothing, or that, I think the one thing that sticks out to me about New Paltz more than anything is the type of people that go here and the uniqueness of the people that go here. And I think more so than just making a bunch of productive members of society, we want to make people who are going to be the spearhead of like the next generation of society, who are going to better the world, who are going to advance the world through the technology that we like provide them, or through the education that we provide them. So we can incorporate, I think to some level we can incorporate something regarding our School of Engineering or the technology that we're using, in the sense of saying like we're teaching or we're fostering an environment in which students, like the students that go here, are going to be the ones to change the world or push technology to that next step or improve our society rather than just like contribute to it.
Julie's got her hand raised.
There's
Oh, Julie raised her hand.
a spiritual side to the human being,
Mm-hmm.
not only this intellectual.
Mm-hmm.
One has to recognize that and promote it.
Yeah, and that's why I keep going back to the uniqueness thing, because that's what we do here. There are tons of spiritual individuals on campus, individuals from all different walks of faith and religion. That's That's what this campus is, more so than just something that's gonna make some productive members of society. We're pushing out people who are going to change it with their ideas. Like, I think that's what we need to sell more than anything, more than like the technology our engineering department offers, or I don't know, our location in the Mid Hudson Valley or things along those lines. Like, our greatest product as a campus is our students. That's what we offer the world, more than just like our departments, I feel.
Julie's had her hand
Can I
raised.
speak? This is Renee.
Oh, Renee. Try to get you.
I think the young man that just spoke is a current student, yes?
Yes.
Okay, and I appreciate your candor and your excitement for this. Specifically, I can tell you when I went to school and chose New Paltz, right? Specifically, I've said this in the past. It's because New Paltz treated me like an individual and not my social security number. It's what I was engaged to look for when I went to college. And what I wrote down was specifically to discover your greatest self in the Hudson Valley area. Why? Because it's a beautiful area, but it's also to do it through educational awareness and civic and global engagement. Because when we leave New Paltz, we have participated in something on the campus, whether it's environmental or political, we've participated in something. And I think that's the piece that as I sit here, I find that it's missing. As an alumni from a very long time ago, but I graduated, but I never left. So I get to see all of the differences in what the school was in 1987 and what it has become in 2025. So as we write our statement, there's a lot of words, and education is of course key, but what makes us different? What makes us different is the space that we're in, how we aggregate and are a force with one another for whatever the topics are. It's not just one specific thing. So I think that that's something, if that comes across in writing, and for me, it came across by knowing that all of the different factions was written down at the time, and it jumped off the page to say, this is the college I'm going to go to. Getting accepted to Albany, getting accepted to all of these other schools. But this specific college, 40 minutes, an hour and a half away from home, made it easier for this city girl, right, to be relatable in a country setting. Hope that makes sense.
Absolutely.
Julie?
I have to hop off. Do we need to take a vote on something so I quorum?
No.
No.
Okay, I will talk to you all the next time.
The minutes. Oh, the minutes. We
We
can
have-
vote on the
no, we
minutes.
can vote on the
Eli,
minutes.
we have,
Yeah, I know we have a quorum, I know.
yeah.
Want to do that now? Sure. Has everybody reviewed the minutes? Of course. Are there any corrections, deletions, additions? There being none, do I hear a motion to adopt the minutes?
So moved.
All in favor?
I,
Unanimous, great.
Okay.
Thank you. The minutes are, thank you.
Thanks, Julie.
I wasn't going to let you out of here, Julie, without approving them.
I want to allow anyone that did not have a chance to give their 8 to 10 word synopsis a chance to do so before moving on to what the next steps will be.
Can I just make one more statement? When I graduated, my mother went and bought a New Paltz ring for me. Because at first I didn't want one, but she bought it for me anyway. And when she gave me the ring, I looked at it because I noticed that there was an inscription on it. And the inscription was a very simple one. And it read that let each become all he is capable of becoming. And I found that very interesting, that I really had never thought about New Paltz as being that kind of a place for me. Because in that sense, it allowed me, as well as a lot of other people who graduated with me, to become who they wanted to become. And I don't know how we weave something like that in into it, but it's on, or at least it's on my graduation ring from New Paltz.
Excellent. That's excellent. Very good quote. I appreciate that. That's going to be very helpful.
Status.
Any other,
Neil's got his
any-
hand raised.
I mean, I was thinking about the somewhat similar, like a slight addition to what I said before. And saying like the mission of SUNY New Paltz highlights its dedication to delivering a high quality, affordable education to students from diverse social and economic backgrounds. It aims to support students in achieving their goals in life. You know, like that, like our goal, our mission statement is to help you as a student get where you want to be, right? That's why I think about adding, and I thought it fit in something like that.
yeah, that's good. Thank you. Other last minute additions. Okay, next steps. Number one, all of you that were able to write something or type something, please make sure to get that to Shelley. Any specific notes that you wrote down during our meeting today and or either wrote or typed, please make sure to get those to Shelley. As we mentioned, we're going to take all of this input and create a draft revised statement. The institutional leadership will have a chance to review that. And then we, the College Council, as well as those on the call today, are going to be meeting again in a couple of weeks. We will review that draft statement then in context for working on the vision in the same kind of format that we did today. We will then take both those draft mission and vision statements and do a survey to all campus constituents to get their input on those two statements. We'll take that input and work with college leadership to finalize those two statements. I appreciate you all taking the time today. It was very, very productive, very helpful. And I look forward to getting further feedback from you all on the mission statement, I should say draft mission statement, and the draft vision statement. Thanks again for taking the time. I really appreciate your input. And I look forward to seeing you all again in a couple of weeks.
Thank you, Dan. And thank you, Shelley and Shayla and John. And we're going to have another meeting on February 5th to go over some of what we did today and some new materials, part of the strategic plan. And I look forward to seeing you and engaging with you then. And it'll be at 3:00 in the afternoon. And with that, is there anything else to add? Do I hear a motion to adjourn?
Motion.
Ron, speak up.
So moved.
Thank you. Thank you. Thank you. Neil?
Second.
All in favor? Thank you.
Aye.
Meeting adjourned.
Thank you.